She had hoped to get another hot chocolate and maybe get herself a blueberry scone this time. But then her mind reminded her of the movie she watched at the theaters in the past about men ordering for women during dates, and she became giddy again. Not a lot of conversation occurred between them, the only sound being the usual cafe-goers conversing for themselves around them. She searched her mind for anything to say, but the workers surprisingly came out with their drinks already, and that's when Donovan decided to leave. He pulled out a small dark brown leather wallet with some cursive stitched letters of C and S. She blinked at it, but he pulled out some money without even noticing and paid the worker. And then he pushed himself up from the table and blankly told her to follow him. She did, but he didn't turn around to be sure. She honestly began to not feel as happy as when she woke up, and instead just felt small and shunned. She looked down at the ground as she trailed behind him, clutching at the less than pleasant drink with both her hands as though it would help her feel better. It didn't. "Hey, you there! Stop!" She paused when she was about to close the door. One of the workers inside the cafe was stationed behind the counter and seemed rather frazzled. It was the worker who had served her the other day, and he really looked like he had something important to say. Well, she was deciding whether to go in and see what the disturbed worker had to say or just run, since she usually never got in trouble. So the fact he was regarding her in this upset manner made her nervous. Out of nowhere, though, she was suddenly blindsided and knocked to the ground harshly. The coffee she was also holding hitting the ground next to her as well. "Oh crap, sorry about that. I was not looking where I was going at all." After partially recovering from her shock, she only looked up when she heard very angry yelling. Donovan had the boy's blue shirt in his hands and was face to face with the guy, whose hands were gripping Donovan's and trying to escape his hold. Glaring dark brown eyes met with piercing ice blue, and she could tell her boyfriend was more than ready to deliver the heavy blow. Had it been any other situation, she wouldn't have cared either way. But knowing people were watching, she didn't want anyone to have the chance to record. "Donovan, stop! I'm fine! Please, let him go!" He didn't even seem to hear her, though, and still kept a hold on the guy, who then began to stop struggling to escape and became outwardly more aggressive. Without any words, he was telling him he was more than happy to oblige in a fight and would make sure he wasn't going to lose. After the size up, Donovan harshly shoved him away, making him stagger off balance before successfully keeping his footing. He kept his eyes on Donovan all the while, as if anticipating the first move. "You're not worth my time. Get out of here before I change my mind," Donovan scoffed wryly, but this guy was not having his attitude. With a sneer, he bit back. "Sure talk big for a coward. What, am I too brave to fight you?" She became even more nervous that the stranger would continue to provoke her boyfriend into a fight. "Just continue running, bitch. You don't want this," Donovan called out threateningly smug. To her relief, the guy decided to flip them off and continue running off to his initial destination. They didn't have the chance to breathe as the cafe's worker was still pursuing them, and Donovan wasted no time in booking it, leaving her to struggle to catch up and be brimming with fear at the thought of hands closing around her.